Welcome to the Loudest Girls in the Bathroom. This podcast is for me and my friends. This gives us a platform to talk about the things that affect us on a daily basis and shit that we're interested in. For months, a caravan of thousands of Central Americans have been making their way towards the United States in order to apply for asylum. On November 25th, 2018, the asylum seekers were met with Customs and Border Patrol at the San Diego-Tijuana border. Upon hearing about this news, I was floored and knew that I had to do something. The following is a phone call, a voicemail that I sent Nancy Pelosi, because me being in San Francisco, there isn't much that I can do to help aid these migrants. Hi, I wanted to speak to my representative.
Sure, who would that be, please?
It's Nancy Pelosi.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for calling the office of Democratic Leader Nancy Pelosi. Please feel free to leave a message after the tone, and your comments will be listened to and shared each day.
Hi, my name is Shaylin Martos. I'm calling to ask Nancy Pelosi to condemn the U.S. Border Patrol's actions on Sunday. They closed the San Ysidro port of entry, and when they used tear gas on the migrants that were trying to gain asylum in the United States. These people were being treated very inhumanely. They were peacefully demonstrating, they were requesting asylum, and they were asking to speak to a U.S. official. I'm a journalist student. I used to live in San Diego, and I was very close to the border, and I would cross frequently for studies or to visit friends. I think that these ports should remain open, especially for people who are seeking asylum. Again, I'm calling on Nancy Pelosi to condemn these actions, but to also pursue an agreement that would allow for asylum for these migrants and give them the space to start working on paperwork for them to be able to enter the U.S. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Not everyone is hindered by distance. Some of my friends are right in San Diego, and they have the ability and the desire and the passion to help these asylum seekers. The following is a conversation I had with my friend Carlisle Fillat, who's been volunteering to help these migrants.
My name is Carlisle Fillat. I am 22 years old. I live in San Diego, California. I'm from Maryland originally. Yeah, I've been here for about 3 years.
Yeah. And how long have we been friends?
We've been friends since this past summer, right?
Yeah.
Well, we've been friends. I've known you for a long time, but we got really close over the summer.
Yeah.
I've known you for about like a year, not a really long time, but yeah.
It feels like a long time for us because
It really does.
Yeah, this has been one of those friendships where you just meet someone who just kind of understands the way that you move through the world.
Oh, absolutely. It was like love at first sight.
Because I do consider you like one of my closest friends now, and I love you very much.
I love you too.
I did want to talk about your volunteering. Could you tell me how you got involved with the organization that you volunteered for?
Yeah, it's called the Otay Mesa Detention Resistance.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope that I don't come off sounding like white saviory because like I've only volunteered a couple of times and I just started doing it. So I just hope that doesn't come across at all. That's like my only thing. But I don't think I do, and I hope that I don't. So I actually found it through Instagram. I was like just like obsessively looking through like articles, reading about the caravan and just seeing what was going on. And I was just like, what can I do? What can I do? And just like looking through Instagram and seeing everyone who was posting things and like reposting things and then going to the profiles that they had reposted. And I found this one organization, the one that I'm currently volunteering for, and they're collecting donations in Balboa Park at the Centro Cultural de la Reza.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I just signed up to sort through all of the donations that they had, and I started going and doing that. And then this past week I drove down to Tijuana and yeah, I went to El Baratal with like my car full of like donations, and that's when I actually was there. and got to see what was really going on.
Yeah, and you went with Brandy, right?
Yeah, I went with my friend Brandy. It was just us and an older woman who came with us, who is the mother of a girl that I have volunteered with, that I met through the organization.
Yeah, and she was like there to translate, right? Because neither of you speak Spanish.
Yeah, we don't speak Spanish, and she didn't really speak very much English, so it wasn't as much translating. Like, she just kind of did all of the talking for us. I didn't like talk to anyone who was in charge of anything, because like no one was speaking English at all. We left around 1:30, and it looks like we arrived, and we were inside the center at like 3:30. We spent like about an hour waiting inside of the shelter, just waiting for someone to come by, just because there were so many other things going on at once. So the setup, apparently it's an old nightclub that's now turned into a shelter.
Yeah.
And it was open to it was an open air center. It was like a courtyard, and surrounding the courtyard were these buildings, and so all throughout the courtyard was like tents. It was just a whole community of tents. And then on top of the buildings, on the roofs of the buildings, there were also tents.
Yeah.
And there's a big, there's like a big tarp, a big canopy in the middle where a bunch of tents were underneath.
How many people do you think you saw when you were there?
Apparently in that shelter, it's up to 7,000 people.
Wow.
We easily saw around like 2,000, I want to say. I'm bad at ballparking that, but it was a lot of people. It was really fascinating and heartbreaking, and like it was really crazy, because it was so interesting seeing so many people from different countries. You could tell,
Yeah.
just like looking at everyone, it was like this huge melting pot of a community of people all just coming from somewhere else,
Yeah. The people that you saw, were there more women, children, or men that you could tell?
A huge mix.
Uh-huh.
A huge mix. It was a lot of men, though.
Okay.
But it was a lot of families. I would say, like, I mean, I'm looking at a photo I took, and I'm seeing it is mostly men.
Okay.
But there were women there as well. It was like everyone was with someone. No one was alone.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of, like, guys, I want to say, that were in their early 20s that were there, but there were also like fathers. There was a lot of children.
How did that feel, seeing all those kids?
It was like, well, the kids were cute. They were really cute.
Yeah.
They're like, I saw like what looked like a brother and a little sister. He was like chasing her around their tent and like teasing her.
Mm-hmm.
I could see her like getting annoyed with him, and that was like, it's just like, obviously people they're in like a horrible situation, but they aren't always going to be actively suffering.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much like, these are people who have just come from countries where they were suffering and they were in like survival mode. So now they're just continuing that sort of survival aspect,
Yeah.
I feel like these are people who are kind of used to being in less than ideal situations.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like the kids were playing. There was like a group of boys that were doing like soccer tricks. And like they started playing soccer with these like younger girls that looked like their sisters,
Yeah.
I didn't really see anyone being alone. Everyone was talking to someone, or it felt like a community, Nobody was just like, it was very much no one was alone in this.
Yeah. And how were you and Brandy received? Because both of you, you look white. So I feel like I want to know how the community was responding to you guys coming in with all of these donations.
I want to say, well, I really kind of felt like an alien. It was like very much everyone kind of just doing their thing, and I was just in the middle of it, like not a part of it,
Mm.
And I'm like kicking myself for not speaking Spanish, because I really wanted to talk to the guys that were helping us move everything. But overall, like, people smiled,
Yeah.
I mean, and actually that's not true. Like, people just didn't really pay attention to me, it was just like another person coming and going, but the guys that were helping us, like lifting the donations, they were like smiling at me, and like it was like engaging eye contact is what I could say, because I couldn't speak to them, they couldn't speak to me, but like there was just like a mutual understanding, I want to say.
How do you think that Brandy kind of took the whole situation? Because I know Brandy, like, she processes emotion differently than you and I.
Yeah, she was very quiet for a lot of it, and I think it was really affecting her. But like, I think it was like just a very like kind of overwhelming situation, because it was like such a culture shock. Neither of us have even been to Mexico before, let alone Tijuana, let alone a refugee campsite. So me and Brandy really just spent a lot of time just like being quiet and just looking around and just taking everything in.
Are you planning on going back?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now I've been there once, it's like I have to go back. I really want to. Just being there and seeing like this is not clean, you know?
Yeah.
It's like that stuff is definitely going to make a difference. Soap makes a difference. Blankets are going to make a difference. There's no way that what we brought didn't help someone. And if I can just do anything to minimize the suffering and amplify just survival, then I'm going to do that, you know? Like, it's not going to go unnoticed, and it's not going to go unappreciated.
I wanted you to kind of speak a little bit about other people that you see online, because you've posted some stuff like saying, like, you know, if you're saying this online but you're not doing it in real life, then I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to deal with you. How do you feel about these people who are posting on social media but aren't really stepping up and taking the steps that you and other friends have done?
Well, I mean, everyone can't give everything, you know? And I completely understand if people are busy, like if like you're in school, it's like, okay, if there are other things that are priority, that's all good and well, but like I do think that people should be putting their money where their mouth is. Literally, donate. If you have the money to give, then give it. If you have resources, if you have an extra blanket, give it. If you have time, please give it. And if you don't have any of those things, I do think that spreading the word is important. There are people who are online, like activists, that I've messaged and been like, hey, what, like, I would like to work with you, I'd like to do this, and then they'll be like all into it, and like they'll respond to me, and then nothing will come from it. They won't meet up with me. They won't talk to me about like whatever they're actually doing. Just hearing nothing back just kind of makes me be like, okay, I just have to do this on my own, you know? I just put it out there. I put out all the information that I have. I'm just telling people, like, hey, this is who I'm working with. This is what I want to do. Like, this is how you can do it. It's not that hard to do. It was super easy for me to start volunteering with them. So I just kind of throw that out into the world. And if people want to receive it, people want to help, then that is amazing. And if they can't, or if they don't want to, then like whatever, you know. I can't really say too much about it. It's like you can't make people care, and you can't make people want to be like to actually do anything about it. I don't know if I said that right.
No, that's perfect.
No matter what your personality is, if you really want to do something, there's a way. There is absolutely a way to make a difference and let your voice be heard.
I'm kind of kicking myself for being up here. You know, if I could get a plane ticket and fly down and be there and skip out on all my finals and not give a fuck about work and go and donate and drop stuff off and be there with you, be there with all my other friends, the ones who are filming this stuff and talking to people on the street, I totally would. And it's kind of like, it's been a struggle, because I feel like no matter what I'm doing, because I don't have the money to donate in large quantities that I'm not doing enough.
I don't necessarily believe that, because you have to do what's right for your own journey, and there will always be a fight to fight. After this ends, there will be more fights to fight. There is always going to be people who need help, and there's no way that you can do everything. And it's just a lot of this is circumstance. If I was in Maryland, I wouldn't be doing any of this because it would be impossible. Yeah. It's I happen to be here, so I can,
Yeah, thank you so much for talking about this with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I hope I gave you some good material and stuff.
Amazing. If you made it this far, thank you so much for listening to the first episode of The Loudest Girls in the Bathroom. Thanks so much to Carlisle Fillat for talking to me, and thanks for Nancy Pelosi for hopefully listening to my voicemail. Keep talking about these topics, everyone. It's important that you keep sharing your information with the world. Thank you.